Hello, welcome back to the Spider's Web, and in this video we're going to be painting one of the gods, Athena. Yes, here she is. She has a little owl, her shield with Medusa's head on it. I'm going to do that not as a realistic head, I'm going to do it as a shield, so I'm going to do it as metallic. I'm going to have to work out first of all whether it should be metallic or whether it should be her actual head that's being attached to the shield. I can't remember from thinking, so I'm not going to do the shield just yet, but shall we get on with it? Yeah, why not? Okay, so we're going to start off flesh colours, Kislev flesh. That's what I'm going to use. I'll give it a good shake, and on the palette I'll probably need quite a bit of this, so I'm going to put quite a bit on, and give the brush a bit of a wash. There we go. And we'll get our brush, pop it in the water, and we'll start applying it to all the flesh areas. Now, I'm going to do this because it's such a large mini. I'm going to try and be a bit more careful when I'm painting this one. So obviously, hang on a second, it seems to be something stuck to the bristles. That seems better. We'll just dampen it a bit more, and into the paint we go, and we'll try again. Yeah, so as I was saying, I'm going to try and be a little more careful with how I paint this, not as carefree as it were. Not as free and easy as I have been with the others, because I could get away with a lot when the smaller minis, but with this being quite a large mini, I don't think I'd get away with half as much as I could with the larger one. In regards to this, we're going to go all over the areas of flesh with this. Now, even though I did say I'm going to be a bit more careful, you know, if there is things on the like bracelets and things like that, if they're small enough, it's just going to get painted. Like if it's just a band, it's going to get painted. Obviously, though, it's not just a band; it's it's a full-on metal piece of almost like armour. there we have all the flesh areas done. Obviously I may need to go back once it's dry and touch up a little bit here and there, but as it stands at the moment it's not looking too bad. Just have to make sure that it's all a uniform colour. It's not very patchy, but there we are. Next job is the robes, or the, not the robes, but the little bit of material she's wearing. We'll do that now, and for that we're going to use Stratum Grey. Okay, now we're going to build this up a little bit so it's not going to stay grey. I'm just going to give that brush a wash out. So I always apply the paint, or try to apply the paint with an old brush. Apply it to the palette with an old brush, and then apply it to the mini with a decent brush. So that's why, I mean, sometimes I do forget, but that's why I tend to, you see me change brushes. I don't know if there's a reason I do that, it's just I prefer to do that. Probably because I think one of the things about it is if I do that, then I don't end up with paint halfway up the ferrule of the brush, of the good brushes I'm using. And if I use an older brush, it doesn't matter if that happens. I think that is everywhere in the grey. Maybe little areas of detail that I've missed. Just let me make sure. There we are. And now back into the flesh tone. We'll finish off painting the skin. Oh dear God. So just make a point of trying to get everywhere. As I say, just be more careful than I am when you're painting. Basically do what I say, not as I do, kind of thing. I don't mean it like that, but you know, learn from my mistakes. That's more what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to paint all of the sandal around the toes. I can always pick out the sandal areas later on, but it just makes it a little bit easier. Yeah. And that's that. Next, what we're going to do is the metal areas, and for that we're going to be using our usual Warplock bronze. We'll pop this on the pallets. I don't know if we've got enough there, but if we haven't, we're just using straight Warplock bronze, so we can always add more. Oops. So first of all, we want this area. I'm trying my best not to go on the leg or any other area with this colour. Mainly because of it being a metallic colour and fairly dark, or rather very dark, it's quite difficult going over if you get it over somewhere that's paler. So that's the reason I'm being very careful with this. And finally, for the last little bit, we have a little bit of metallic work down at the bottom of the shield here. And I think that will do for the time being. As I said, I just need to check on the Medusa's head thing. Oh, hang on, a little bit on the helmet that I've missed. That will suffice, I think, for the metallics. There we are. Next, we have the sandals to do, but I want to check on the feet first. They need a little more colouring. Yeah. So I'm going to ignore the sandals for the time being. What else is there to do? That's on the owl. And for the majority of it, I'm just going to use a wash. First off, where are you? Reichland Flesh Shade. I'm going to use that. And this is going to be for the underside of the bird. And the face. And the middle set of feathers on the wing. There we go, and also the underneath of the wings on the tail. There we go. And then we'll swap over to the darker one, which, as you know by now, is Agrak's Earthshade. And that will take care of the rest of the bird. So we'll just add this to the wings, allowing some of the Reichland Flesh Shade to mix in. Try your best to get this everywhere it's needed. And that hopefully will do for the owl. Sometimes, as I said before, when I've been using washes on bigger minis, sometimes the simplest way of doing something is quite often the best way of doing it. In this case, it's not necessarily the best way of doing it, but it's an effective way of doing it because it adds the lightness of, you know, it gives a certain lightness to the paintwork, or to the colouring that you wouldn't get with paints without using sort of like a airbrush. And for this minute I wanted that whiteness to be there, especially for the owl. So as I said, we don't have a great deal of colours in the owl. Owls aren't renowned for the colours apart from some being white and that, but usually you'll find that they're like a brownish colour. And we can go over certain aspects of it again if we so wish. Dry brush to make certain parts paler. I need to do the talons as well, but we'll do that at a later date or later on in the video. Just noticed as well the leg armour there that I haven't done. Okay, told you, always miss something. And if the original, if the owl on her arm was metallic, it would give a nice nod to the original Clash of the Titans movie. But as it stands, it also gives a nice nod, because, well, not a nod as such, because it's probably in mythology that she had an owl, but in the original Clash of the Titans, Athena did have an owl when she was on Mount Olympus, and Zeus ordered her to give Perseus the owl, and she refused, and sent a mechanical owl. Whether that's correct in the mythology, I don't know. So next, let's go back to, what can we go back to? So let's go back into the Warplot bronze and touch up the areas I've missed on these now. There we go. I have noticed there's a little area there that I've missed with the skin tone. It's not going to be seen, but I know I've missed it, so I'm going to paint it. There we go. Now, the shaft of the spear, I'm going to do that in a little bit of corn red. And I'm using the same brush that I used to paint for this, because it's not going to be an incredibly strong mix, because into that corn red I'm going to put Rhinox hide. I'm not using a lot of it, and I'm not going to the bottom of the pot or getting it all mixed up that way. I'm just literally getting a little bit of red, a little bit of the paint out of the tub. And we'll go over around the spear. Obviously you can see I'm leaving that little bit there where her hand is, because that will be like a grip thing, which usually indicates like wrapping and things like that, and I don't want to paint that in the red. And I'm just going to go straight down. And I'm going to go over that area again. In fact, I'm not going to do, I'm just going to wash it. And if I'd have thought about it, if I'd have noticed it rather, I'd have done that part when I was doing the owl, because I'm using one of the paints that we use for the owl, or one of the washes we use for the owl, on that part. So that's the shaft of the spear done. And now for the wrap we're going to use, once again, Reikland Flesh Shade. And it's just gently going to be applied just to this part. In fact, I want to go over the whole skin. You can see I'm not using it on the metal parts. Because you use wash and metal on the metallic paint and it just makes it dull. So that's that one done. Next wash I'm going to be using is on the cloth areas, and that one is going to be Drakenhof Nightshade. There we go, so I'll pop that down here, pick up the mini once more and get back in with this, and this gives like a bluey grey tint. Which will give a nice shadow to the pale, incredibly pale grey, almost white finish and highlights I'm going to use. There we are. And as I said, when we come back we'll carry on with highlighting and bringing this up to a much higher standard than it is now. That's not quite been covered. Alright, I'm going to make this a little darker under here because it will be in shadow. Just need to touch up there a little bit and there a little bit. There we go. Also, when we come back, in fact, before I go, one more thing. Not a big job, but I'm going to paint this in this same colour that I used for the staff. And that. Is all there is for now. So,